Hello again, welcome to Bite Size Insight. Today we'll be looking at top 5 engineers of all time. Engineering is the most demanding skill of 21st century and it has been proven very significant in our entire history. That is the reason we will take a journey through the time and see the 5 most significant engineers of all time. To prevent ambiguity, we will consider multiple entries on the same spot, and this will be a chronology of the top 5 engineers ever been on earth. So let's get started. At number 5 we have Archimedes. He was greatest mathematician of all time and he was also an engineer. We know about Archimedes principle. It's about some water and how we measure that. It's not what made him in this list of the greatest engineer. It was his understanding of principle of lever. Principle of lever is the arguably the best, one of the best engineering principle we ever used in our modern and even in industrial ages. It's about mechanical advantage. He was the man who's perfect in the compounding pulleys. Without these two machines and his understanding of how they work, how they can be used in the works, we could not have been through this time without industrial ages. Just a reminder, he's the man who said, "Give me a stick and I can move the entire earth." He has helped his city Syracuse, okay, Syracuse, okay, whatever it was, Syracuse. He has defended his city. He has made the heat guns. He used mirrors to burn the boats which come to defend his city. And he demonstrated his skills in those wars. And that was the starting of engineering in the wars. Let's move ahead. At number 4, we have Leonardo da Vinci. He's the guy who painted this painting. So he should be an artist, don't he? But he was a scientist, he was a mathematician, he was an architect, he was a theologist, he was a I don't know what. His name in this list represents the shift, the major shift in the engineering, where engineering was turning to becoming art. It was not just the essential for the walls or buildings. It was going to become an art. I agree. Most of his engineering pieces or the paintings he made or the theories he gave about engineering was more on the fictional side. What helicopters or things he was making never was made, but that was showing a major shift or two of engineering, and that was the period of Renaissance and the engineering architecture, and all things were combining, and Leonardo da Vinci was the central piece on that renaissance of engineering, and a new element of in engineering, the art was added by this man and all the peoples around him. That was at our number 4. Now we are coming more close to the modern times, and let's move to number 3. Before moving to number 3, we have honorable mentions. These all scientists which made industrial revolution possible. There are so many of them and their combined contribution is so much big that it's not even fair for our list to uh, add them. These collection of these scientists is even bigger than what we are mentioning here. The greatest engineer. It feel like entire kingdom of engineers. Ignoring that, let's move to number 3, and we have the greatest duo of all time, Nikola Tesla and Thomas Alva Edison. All right, now you can say, see Ritesh, they are not duo, they were the rivals. But speaking in terms of engineering, they are the biggest duo of engineering history. They worked together and they both were the pioneer in the a technology we most use today, the electricity, even it is or DC or AC, or the equipments of electricity like the bulb or the Tesla coils or induction motors, they both work side by side and sometimes in rivalry or in a same company and make this entire kingdom of electricity we live right now. Nowadays we are seeing a very big some kind of debate that some one of these guy was fraud, and I highly criticize those type of comments on any person of the history who made such contribution, both for the great men's and give us their great invention. Let's move to number two. It is the middle of 20th century. We have witnessed the biggest ever leap in the science department, and whole of the engineering department was kind of busy making war machines, nuclear weapons, tanks, planes, and engineering was getting to some dark side, and it was no main use for humanity, and people start criticizing, is it a for good or for the bad of humans. But a new type of race was going to change this whole ideology. We are talking about space race between Soviet Union and United States of America. At number 2 we have Werner von Braun and Sergei Korolev, the rocket scientist of USA and USSR. They were making a biggest paradigm shift in the history of war. Now in the war, country was competing to become bigger rather than making others small. This in this space race, or we say Cold War, the space race was the centerpiece of it, and USA and USSR were trying to become the bigger power in the space, and they both have their giants. If for USA we have Werner von Braun, he was actually a man of Germany, and second we have Sergei Korolev, a Soviet Union scientist, and they make one of the most impossible looking task possible within few decades. They were the men who were responsible for taking humankind to the heavens, or uh, uh, or what they used to call them, uh, within a span of 2 decades. From nothing we were on the moon, and not only the moon, there was so much big steps in the between. We have the Laika, then we have Sputnik, we have space stations after that, and and computers were developed for these calculations, and space race is started some kind of motivation for science among the peoples, and that was a very big paradigm shift in the society. And of course, when we go back to 1950s and think that within just 20 years we will land on the moon, or we will glide on the earth orbit, and our probes will go towards Venus or Mars, that was almost impossible. Humankind has never done such task in just a span of few decades, and that has changed our life. Not not by going to the moon, but the paradigm shift that was in our thinking. So moving ahead to the number one, and the most modern, and the engineering change we are witnessing right now. Now the population has reached 7 billion, and common sense suggests that there would be a rise in the number of geniuses, in the number of mathematicians, the number of engineers, scientists in our space. So at number one we have 7 scientists of our age, starting with, let's count them: Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, Larry Page, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, and Jeff Bezos. Okay, let me complete the counting. Okay, seven. Our one viewer suggests seven was his favorite number, and we have see seven of the biggest engineers of our time. Let's talk about their contribution and how big change they make to the society. Starting with the Steve Jobs, he was again in the league of Leonardo da Vinci. He was not a real engineer, or he was not even an engineer, but he he was the person who bring engineering technology to the common person. His vision brings touch screen and mouse and personal computer and laptops to mainstream. He does not design those things, but he designed the idea. And Steve Wozniak was the person who made those technology possible. And in their rivalry, there was Bill Gates. He's even today he's the biggest genius witness alive, and he was a great engineer. He do that coding, he make computers, and he has some kind of bad reputation on those days, but no doubt he was the genius. And then we have Larry Page, who has changed the how we gather information. He made those search algorithms. And then we have Mark Zuckerberg. He bring the engineering philosophy of computer science to socially connect ourselves. And that seems that would have seemed very impossible for the persons some 100 years back, that engineering will be used in social connections, social connectivity of peoples, of emotions and these things. And Facebook kind of bring that thing. Yes, these all things have some negative effects also, but that is nothing as compared to how they have connected ourselves. Then we have Elon Musk. Okay, yeah. First of all, Jeff Bezos, because Elon Musk have some kind of emotions attached to today's engineering aspirant. So Jeff Bezos bring these all engineering skills to logistics, and how the world is getting more and more connected by information, but still logistics was the main part. And even though he was the not first person to bring his idea, and neither of our all list persons come, but the thing is, it's not the idea but the execution. And Jeff Bezos has the best execution among uh, all the active persons today. He founded his Amazon as a bookstore, and he changed the whole logistics of the books and bring that on digital. Then he bring this Amazon store which deliver cargo, or now they almost everything to our houses. And that is a great leap for our humanity. And he has been pioneering in that. And the last we have Elon Musk. Elon Musk have some kind of more of a I would say social skill, in which he had make his image in our world, and by making some debatable statements, and how he work. But at end we cannot deny his work at Tesla, SpaceX, and the list goes on and on. uh, Most of the time he spent in his factory also with the engineering department. And he has taken a very giant leap in the electric car department. He's the person in the engineering department, and he has made these car batteries and autopilot so ahead of its time. And also with this SpaceX rockets, when they lands vertically, it seems something out of a science fiction. Yes, we have Jeff Bezos working in that, but still Elon Musk has a very big lead, and we cannot deny all of our these scientists has changed. Okay, all of these engineers, there's great confusion between engineering and science, and that's why I made this video, that these all persons belong to the engineering department, and what big change they have made. And soon we are thinking of bringing our top 5 or top 10 scientists of history. Till then, give us the permission. Over and out.